Hi, guys. Am I supposed to look at your phone as well?
No. You look at your video.
Do my thing. I just do my thing.
It's 3:24, everybody. I'm gonna start with Tom's Midnight Garden. Emma is starting with De Profundis. Here we go. Alright, if I don't start reading soon, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
That was devastating. We did it. We conquered the 24 hours of reading. It is a truth universally acknowledged that when your best friend texts you and asks if you'll do a 24-hour readathon with her, you immediately say yes. So a couple of weeks ago, Emma texted me and asked if I wanted to do a virtual 24-hour readathon with her because we haven't done a readathon together in 2 years, maybe more than 2 years. I don't even remember the last time. I am so excited. I immediately said yes. I have made myself a little TBR. I don't love feeling super pressured during 24-hour readathons to read a ton of books. I definitely have 3 or 4 books that I'd like to finish, but they are very short. There are 2 books that I just want to start or continue reading. So the first one I have been in the middle of. I started it at the end of April and I got 2 chapters in and I haven't continued on. And this is one of my June TBR books that I would desperately like to read, and that is The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. This book, I meant to read it in May, I didn't. Now that it's halfway through June, I feel so ashamed that I have not read it. So I really want to make it part of the 24-hour readathon. This book is a bit longer, and from the first 2 chapters, the writing style is not the most fast-paced, at least just for me personally. It's almost 300 pages, so I definitely don't want to try and finish it during the 24-hour readathon, but I just want to make a bit more progress through reading this one. And then the other book that I want to start is the book club pick for my book club, the Well-Read Book Club, which if you want to join, you can join on Fable. There is a link in the description. You can join for free. Every month we read from a different genre, and every month you guys pick the book out of 4 books that I choose. And the book that you picked out of the 4 that I had in the poll is Tom's Midnight Garden by Philippa Pierce. I didn't tell you what The Enchanted April is about. The Enchanted April is about these English women who go to Italy for the month of April because they're very tired of the dreary weather in England, and they basically just have this wonderful experience in Italy, staying in a beautiful medieval castle. Tom's Midnight Garden is about a young boy. It says, when Tom is sent to stay at his aunt and uncle's house for the summer, he resigns himself to weeks of boredom, but as he lies awake in his bed, he listens to the grandfather clock chiming in the hallway downstairs. 11, 12, 13. 13. Tom races down the stairs and finds outside the back door a wonderful garden, a garden everyone told him didn't exist. Tom's Midnight Garden is full of magic, adventure, and children too. Are they ghosts, or is it Tom who is really the ghost? This enchanting and magical story is one of the best-loved children's books ever written. This sounds amazing. I've been wanting to read it for a while. I love this edition, and we are reading it for the book club in June, and I haven't started yet because I've been reading East of Eden for the Game of Thrones book club, which has become a favorite book of all time, and I just posted my vlog about it, and I just love that book so much. So now that I'm done with East of Eden, I'm going to start the next book club pick for the Well-Read Book Club, and I, again, don't want to finish this one. That's not my intention. I just want to maybe get a good way through the book, but the books that I do want to finish, the first one is on my 2025 TBR, and that is The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, and I am so excited to read this one. It's very short. I know that it's quite devastating and heartbreaking, so I have a feeling I'm going to need more of like a lighthearted read, which these 2 books are definitely more lighthearted, and this one is a little less lighthearted, I think. I don't know too much about this one, but I don't want to know too much because it is so short. And then the other book that I would like to finish is also on my 2025 TBR, and it's another one that I don't think is very lighthearted, but it's a book that I've been meaning to read forever. I can't believe I haven't read it yet. And that is The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy is one of my favorite writers of all time. Anna Karenina is part of my personality at this point. I love Anna Karenina so much. This is number 87 in the Penguin Little Black Classics edition. It also has the short story The Three Deaths as well, so depending on how much time I have, I will also read The Three Deaths, but my main priority is to read The Death of Ivan Ilyich. On the back it says, laying humanity bare, these two devastating stories ask, is it possible to have a good death? And what does it mean to truly live? So these are going to be a bit heavier. So I think I'm going to intersperse the more lighthearted stories in between these two. That is my TBR. I am so excited. I'm going to call Emma in a little bit and maybe she can share her TBR with you as well. But she is also going to be filming a vlog, so definitely check out her video. I'll link it down below. And I'm just so excited to read for 24 hours with my bestie. So
welcome to what has been way too long postponed for a 24-hour readathon with bestie Carolyn. She's here on the other side of the camera, and we're going to be reading for 24 hours again, or over a 24-hour period. Oh shoot. Okay, I got a yellow slip. These are classics, but it's probably... Okay, it's literally Journey to the West, which is the Chinese epic, so...
so no?
Not today. Is today going to be a day of misery?
I think for both of us.
So, I have finally De Profundis by Oscar Wilde, and I did just check, and it is 190 pages. So that's under 200 pages. So therefore I have to read it. Have you read this?
I haven't. I tried a while ago and I was enjoying it, but I wasn't in the mood for it. Okay. So I put it down. But it was beautiful and heartbreaking.
Yeah, I've heard this is like just pure pain.
Yeah. It's 3:24, everybody. I'm gonna start with Tom's Midnight Garden. Emma is starting with De Profundis. Here we go. I can't see. I need my glasses.
She blind.
She blind. She blind as a bat. So I just finished reading the first 4 chapters of Tom's Midnight Garden, and I'm really enjoying it. It's making me think of a lot of elements that are reminding me of The Secret Garden. Our main character, Tom, is quite bratty in the beginning, which is reminding me a lot of Mary Lennox in The Secret Garden. Mary Lennox is the main character of The Secret Garden, and she is quite unlikable in the beginning, and then you grow to really love her. And so I think that is what's going to happen similarly in Tom's Midnight Garden. So I'm excited to see how the story develops. But I think I'm going to switch to The Sorrows of Young Werther now. And I'm really excited to read this one. I just want to make sure that I finish it. And I am a slower reader, so I just want to make sure that I have enough time. It's about 135 pages, I believe. I'll keep you guys updated with what I think of it. Emma is currently updating her vlog right now. She is reading De Profundis by Oscar Wilde. And so we're both, I think, going to be reading some slightly devastating books. It's been about an hour, right? We started at like 3:24. So I'm very happy with this one. And now it's time to read this one. I'm just pacing.
Doing laps.
I'm now 64 pages into The Sorrows of Young Werther, and I'm really enjoying it. The writing is so beautiful, but I'm not feeling as immersed in the story as I was expecting, and I think that might be due to the fact that this is written in letters, and so there are times... Emma is FaceTiming. Hello. I was just quickly gonna film a update. Wait, do you wanna chill while I do that super fast?
Oh yeah.
How are you? Guys. How are you doing?
When I see Lord Alfred Douglas in heaven, in hell, it's over.
Did you finish it?
Yeah, I just finished it.
Oh my gosh. And did you pick your next book?
I did.
Do you want to reveal it to everybody?
So, in a twist, no one could have seen. I did pull this.
Wait. For a second, I thought that was Letters to a Young Poet, because they have a Letters to a Young Poet in that edition. So I was like, you're rereading letters? Is that poetry?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I was telling them about Sorrows of Young Werther. I was actually just FaceTiming Leon because he went to Bath with his best friend today, and he was showing me pictures, and I was telling him about the book, so I just shared a few quotes with him. Oh, Emma, I feel like you're gonna like this one. So it is from 21st of June, the letter from 21st of June. It says, "It is good that my heart can feel the simple and innocent pleasure a man knows when the cabbage he eats at table is one he grew himself. The pleasure he takes not only in eating the cabbage, but in remembering all those good days, the fine morning he planted it, the mellow evenings he watered it, and the delight he felt in its daily growth." We grow lettuce and tomatoes and green beans and basil and a bunch of other herbs and vegetables. And every time I make a salad or a meal using those things, I get so excited, and it's just even more wonderful to think like, I grew this and it's part of my meal now. It just feels special and nice. I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I would be more attached to the character if it wasn't in an epistolary letter form, because I just feel like I'm not able to completely get into it because it's like a short snippet in a letter and we don't have like the full context. So I'm grappling with the format, but I really love the writing. And this translation is really great as well. I forgot to say who the translator is. Translated with an introduction and notes by Michael Hulse. I am enjoying it, although I'm not loving it as much as I was expecting, but I'm really loving the writing. That is my update. Now I'm going to keep reading.
No tears yet.
No tears yet, no. It's reminding me a little bit of The Broken Wings. It has like a similar brokenheartedness. Yeah. And I read that for a 24-hour readathon. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Okay, I have just reached page 100. I have about 35 pages left. I'm still really enjoying it. I really love the writing. I'm just not feeling super connected to the story, but besides that, I'm really, really, really enjoying it. I love the writing. It's very philosophical and emotional, and there's a lot of just passion and complex emotions in terms of romantic relationships. It's just very interesting. And anyway, I am feeling very stiff and sleepy, so I think I'm going to walk on the treadmill. It is pitch black outside, so although I would love to go for a walk outside, I'm going to stay inside and go for a walk on the treadmill. I really like walking on the treadmill, especially at night. It really calms me down, and I like moving my body and just getting that walk in. So I think I'm going to walk on the treadmill for a bit. I don't think I'm going to read anything or listen to an audiobook. I feel like I need a little bit of a break. But then I'm going to call Emma again. And I think what we're going to try to do is stay up late and wake up early. Not super early and not super late, but lately, I have been getting up later than I want to, and I really want to correct my sleeping patterns. So I'm thinking, if I stay up late tonight and wake up early tomorrow morning, I'll be tired enough tomorrow night, like the next night, to maybe be tired enough to fall asleep at an earlier time, and then I'll be able to wake up earlier on a regular basis. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to correct my sleep cycle, my sleep schedule. But anyway, really enjoying this one, and I'm excited to finish it. I'm excited to see where it's going. I have a feeling I know where it's going. It also has parts where it's quite humorous. Werther is quite funny at times, and he's being very authentic and making comments that are quite humorous and just like very blunt and honest, which is making me smile at times. But it's less devastating than I was expecting, although it is still quite hard to watch him go through this experience. But anyway, I'm going to take a break, walk on the treadmill for a bit, and then I'm going to call Emma and I'm going to finish this and then maybe see what I'm in the mood to start next. It's 10:44. I changed my t-shirt for a different t-shirt. This is a t-shirt that Emma gave me. It's a Win in the Willows t-shirt, and I thought that it was very fitting to wear for the 24-hour readathon. She just texted me, I am ready too. Okay. I'm already feeling really sleepy. I just washed my face, and every time I wash my face, I feel really calm. I'm gonna finish this and then attempt to maybe read a couple chapters or one chapter of The Enchanted April, but I'm gonna finish this first and see how I do. I would really like to try and stay up as long as possible and then wake up early-ish. Not crazy early, but maybe like 7. Usually I wake up around 8:30 or 9 because I am self-employed. So I make my own schedule, and I usually just wake up at 8:30 or 9. But I would really like to be a morning person. I've always wished I was a morning person. I really am not. Once I'm awake, I'm fine. Anyway, I'm rambling now because I'm tired. I'm gonna start reading this, and I will let you guys know. I think I'm not doing this book justice. I'm really, really, really enjoying it. The fact that it's written in letters is quite profound because we do get this very intimate look in what he's going through, and we're getting a lot more of his internal dialogue than I think we would if it was in third or first person narration. More third. We would probably, well, depends on the narration. Anyway, I'm sleepy. I'm gonna start reading because I keep rambling and procrastinating. It's because I'm tired.
Oh, nice shirt.
Thanks. Nice PJs. I am so sleepy.
Oh, girl. I'm more tired.
Really?
Yeah, you look tired.
Thank you.
like in a relaxed, nice way.
Yeah. Did you read any more?
No.
Okay, cool. Me either.
Mm.
I'm not often the kind of person where it's like, reading puts me to sleep. My dad always says, when I read, I just fall asleep. But it does calm me, and then like, you know, like your breathing gets even when you read, and I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah. What time would you be willing to wake up tomorrow morning? I was thinking 7. Is that too early?
I can try. I'll try my best.
Okay. I'm thinking maybe 7.
Like, if I have a reason, yeah, I could do it probably.
Your reason is me. This is you.
Exactly.
You're looking at your reason. Alright, if I don't start reading soon, I'm gonna fall asleep. Oh no. Damn. That was devastating.
Wait, you're not done yet?
No, I am done.
Oh, you are done. Oh. How was it?
Gorgeous writing. So many beautiful, beautiful lines. And just completely devastating. It really reminded me a lot of Yevgeny Onegin, The Broken Wings, Romeo and Juliet. It has that kind of tone. I quite like how it's structured, like the point of view. In the beginning, I wanted a bit more from the letters, but I think by the end, because the perspective kind of changes a bit, I think that's really interesting, and it gives the story a different perspective. I'm thinking I might go to bed
Yeah.
and then try to wake up early, because I feel like I will be able to do that and enjoy that a little bit more. Do you have anything more joyful that you could maybe read?
I'm, like, severely lacking in that department, honestly.
I hear someone, I don't know who, someone gifted you 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff.
That's actually true.
I hear that's a very good book.
I hear that as well.
I hear it's a selection of letters that's relatively short.
And nice.
And nice. And it'll make you happy.
Okay.
Just saying. Just putting it out there.
Message received.
Okay. It's 12:47. We have had enough for today.
I'm clocking out. Okay, I'll see you in the morning.
I'll see you in the morning. Wake up. Bright and early, 7 a.m.
To the book gods. I'll wake up. Okay, good night.
Good night.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. See you in the morning. Good morning. It is now 8:10, and I read the first chapter of Ivan Ilyich, about 14 pages. I'm really enjoying it so far. I love Tolstoy's writing. It's so readable and engaging. His descriptions, the characters are always just so interesting to follow, and I'm really enjoying and interested by the discussions that are happening right now surrounding death, and he makes really interesting comments about when someone dies, the immediate feeling of the people that haven't died is kind of like a relief that it wasn't that person, which I think is such an interesting thing to say, because it's like part sorrow that the person has died and also part relief that it wasn't you. I also really liked this paragraph on page 11. This character is reflecting on the death of Ivan Ilyich, who was a colleague of his, and it says, "Just think, it could happen to me any time now," he thought, and he felt that momentary pang of fear, but immediately he was saved without knowing how by the familiar idea that this had happened to Ivan Ilyich, not him, and it could not and would not happen to him, and that kind of thinking would put him in a gloomy mood, for which there was no need, as Schwartz's face had clearly demonstrated. Pursuing this line of thought, Pyotr Ivanovich calmed down and began to show a close interest in the details of Ivan Ilyitch's death, as if death was a chance experience that may have applied to Ivan Ilyich, but certainly did not apply to him. I just think it's such an interesting perspective, and hearing different characters' opinions on death and views on death and feelings about it. It's very interesting so far. I'm really enjoying. That was a great first chapter, and It's so wonderful to be back with Tolstoy. I don't remember the last time I read a Tolstoy story, and I miss his writing. It's so readable and wonderful. The translator is Anthony Briggs, and this is number 87 in the Little Black Classics series. But I think I'm going to make myself some breakfast now. My favorite breakfast on the planet is a toasted bagel with avocado. So it's like avocado toast, but instead of a slice of bread, it's a bagel. And a glass of like fresh squeezed orange juice. Oh my god. My orange juice in the morning is one of my favorite parts of the day. I can't start my day without an avocado bagel and orange juice, especially the orange juice. When I run out of orange juice and I forget to buy more, it genuinely ruins my morning. And Willow's downstairs. I'm gonna go say good morning to Willow. I just finished The Death of Ivan Ilyich and the other story in this collection called The Three Deaths, and they were both devastating. The Death of Ivan Ilyich especially was so harrowing, and both had a lot to do with suffering and illness. And I think what I loved so much about The Death of Ivan Ilyich in particular was the main question of the story is, what does it mean to live a good life, and reflecting on whether you have lived a good life, and when you're at the end of your life, reflecting on your actions and how illness and suffering not only affects the person who is ill and is suffering, but also the people around them, and how that person's life affects the other people's lives that surround that person. And it dealt with a lot of elements of chronic pain and suffering and illness, like I said, and it was really harrowing. Tolstoy's writing is so beautiful and approachable, and I feel like I just fly through his stories. They are so easy to read and enjoyable, even though, like, the reading experience is enjoyable because you're engaged in the story, even though the story itself is not enjoyable, if that makes sense. One of my favorite passages is between the servant to Ivan Ilyich. His name is spelled Gerasim. I have read a lot of Russian books and I've never come across this name before, and I really don't know how to pronounce it. I think I'm going to say Gerasim. I feel like I'm definitely wrong. But I really love this part where it's Gerasim helping Ivan Ilyich. So it says, "This was why Ivan Ilyich felt comfortable only with Gerasim. It was a comfort to him when Gerasim, sometimes for nights on end, held his legs up and refused to go to bed, saying, 'Please don't worry about it, Ivan Ilyich. I'll catch up on my sleep.' Or else he would suddenly address him in familiar language and add, 'It'd be different if you weren't ill. But with things the way they are, why shouldn't I help you out?' Gerasim was the only one who didn't lie to him. Everything showed that he was the only one who understood what was going on and saw no need to hide it. He just felt sorry for his weak and emaciated master. Once, when Ivan Ilyich was dismissing him, he put it quite bluntly, 'We've all got to die one day. Why shouldn't I give you a hand?' This was to say there was a good reason for not making a fuss about helping out. He was doing it for a dying man, and he hoped that when his time came, someone would help him out in the same way." I thought that was just so beautiful. And I love that he was most comfortable with someone that you would maybe not expect him to be. I feel like you would expect him to be more comfortable with maybe a family member or a friend, but the fact that this servant who works for him is just so powerful and beautiful. Then the other short story, it's very short, I think it's about 11 pages, called The Three Deaths. I really enjoyed The Three Deaths, in particular the ending. So naturally, as you can assume from the title of the story, it is about 3 deaths. But the third death really took me by surprise. I think that's the masterful quality of Tolstoy's short stories especially, is in a lot of his short stories, I feel like he's able to really take you by surprise and maybe turn the plot or turn the story in a way that you don't expect. And I find that really exciting and engaging, and I really, really loved both of these stories. Definitely The Death of Ivan Ilyich a little bit more, because The Death of Ivan Ilyich is 90 pages. The other one is about, like I said, maybe 11 or 12 or 13. I'm really, really happy that I finally read this, and 2 very sorrowful books. So right now it is 1:27. We have until 3:30, so I have 2 more hours to read. I'm thinking I'll either read... No, I think I will read some of The Enchanted April because, like I said, I've been meaning to read it since I read it on April 30th. I wanted to read it in May and I didn't, and so I'm going to read some of The Enchanted April, and I really feel like I need something a bit more uplifting. So I'm excited to read that one, and I know that I'm going to love it because I read the first 2 chapters, and even just reading the first 2 chapters, I was really enjoying it. But I'm so glad I finished the 2 books that I really wanted to finish, which were The Sorrows of Young Werther and The Death of Ivan Ilyich. And those were 2 books on my 2025 TBR for my classics selection. So here is my 2025 TBR, and if you scroll down to, this is my classics section, I can now check off The Death of Ivan Ilyich. I also checked off The Sorrows of Young Werther last night. Time is running out and I need to read a little bit more, so... We did it. We conquered the 24 hours of reading.
Yeah. It's 3:30, so we're done.
Yay!
We're all done.
Yep.
Yeah. The reading has been done.
Mm-hmm. We're both very tired. This has been so fun!
I know, it's been so long.
Oh, I did it again. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Okay, happy reading.
Thanks. Ciao.
Ciao.
Okay, it is now June 26th. Quite a few days have gone by since the readathon ended, and I thought I would tell you my final thoughts on the books that I finished and that I haven't finished. So the first book that I finished was The Sorrows of Young Werther by Goethe, and I will share with you my book reviews because I love writing my reviews, I love sharing my reviews. If you want to follow me to read my reviews, I post them on Fable and Goodreads, and I always read them in my videos because it brings me joy, and I hope it brings you joy. This is such a beautifully written book. I love how thoughtful and philosophic it was. The way the story is told, through letters and then through the editor, is very interesting. Werther is writing to a close friend of his, and because of this, the reader gets an intimate glimpse into his honest thoughts and feelings. Once the narrative style changes, the impact of what has happened is even more powerful. I felt terribly for what Werther was going through, but at the same time, part of me felt slightly detached from him and his emotional turmoil. To be honest, I couldn't put my finger on why exactly I felt/feel that way. I've been wondering if it's because of how dramatically he expresses his feelings, which makes him feel more like a caricature than a real person. The ending was heartbreaking and left me feeling, as the title says, very sorrowful. So my feelings about this book are still kind of slightly confused or conflicting because although I loved the writing, I underlined so many passages, so many quotes, and I thought that it was such a beautiful book, and I know that it had a great impact when it was published, and its literary effect is very great. And I could definitely see that. I just had a hard time picturing him as a real person. He felt very much like a character in a Shakespeare play. Like, I almost felt like someone was portraying this archetype of a character. And I don't know if that's just me. I know so many people really feel so deeply for Werther, and I definitely felt deeply for him. It was just, I felt kind of detached. It just wasn't what I was expecting, I guess. I wasn't expecting to feel the way I felt when reading this, which is why you really shouldn't go into books with expectations. But I really am so glad that I read it, and I highly recommend it. I can definitely see myself rereading this story. And there's nothing wrong with a character that feels like a caricature. I love Shakespeare plays. I love the characters in Shakespeare plays. That's just not what I was expecting in this book. But again, maybe don't go into books with expectations. The next book that I read and finished was probably my favorite that I read for the 24-hour readathon, although I only really finished 2 full books or full stories in the 24 hours, but that is The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Leo Tolstoy. I love Tolstoy's writing so much, and I am not surprised that I really, really loved this one as well, and I will read you my review. Yet again, Tolstoy has ripped my heart out in the most profound and beautiful way possible. The Death of Ivan Ilyich is precisely that, a semi-detailed account of the life, illness, and death of Ivan Ilyich. Through hearing about Ivan's story, Tolstoy makes the reader question what it means to live a good life. Even though this was a novella, it packed the same emotional punch as his other longer works. As always, the writing was superb, captivating, and thoughtful. I especially loved the way Tolstoy explored the relationship between Ivan and his peasant who waited at table named Gerasim. I shared a quote from page 65 that says, "There was a good reason for not making a fuss about helping out. He was doing it for a dying man, and he hoped that when his time came, someone would help him out in the same way." Weeps. The Three Deaths, like Ivan Ilyich, is a much shorter story about illness and death. Again, as the title suggests, this story is about 3 deaths. The first 2 deaths didn't surprise me, but I don't think it was Tolstoy's intention to do so. The brilliance is in the 3rd death, because of its unexpected surprise and impact. Tolstoy, thank you for your breathtaking stories. As you can tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this story. Tolstoy does short stories just as well as he does epic novels because, like I said in my review, he still packs that same punch and he still has a way to really grip the reader and surprise you and make you think and make you question. So I can't recommend The Death of Ivan Ilyich enough. I'm so glad that I finally read it. I can't believe I hadn't read it up until this point because I've read a lot of Tolstoy's works now, and I think the next one I'm most looking forward to is Master and Man, which is another short story novella. And I'm very excited for that one, but so glad that I could take this off of my list. Then I started in the 24-hour readathon, and I actually finished it yesterday, Tom's Midnight Garden by Philippa Pierce. This is such a touching, beautiful middle grade story. You guys know, if you don't know, I really love middle grade literature. I am such an advocate for children's literature because especially middle grade stories are so ageless, timeless, and universal, and I am really a big advocate for adults reading middle grade stories, which is why I was so excited to read this for my book club, the Well Read Book Club, because every month we read from a different genre, and June, the genre was middle grade. Although I didn't finish this in the 24-hour readathon, I thought I would still share my review with you. Tom's Midnight Garden is one of the most enchanting, charming, and heartfelt stories I've ever read. The descriptions of the garden and house felt as alive to me as they were to Tom. I loved how Philippa Pierce explored and changed the concept of time to make the reader view time itself differently. Although the beginning of the book felt slightly slow-paced, I think that enhanced my overall reading experience. The reader feels Tom's boredom and want of adventure. Then, as the story progresses, the reader also feels Tom's desire to understand why, how, and what is going on in these 2 worlds he finds himself in. His friendship with Hattie is, of course, the heart of the story, and I found my own heart slightly broken by the ending. It was touching, beautiful, and thought-provoking. I'm so glad I have read this book, and I have a feeling that I'll find myself thinking about it for many years to come. I really enjoyed this book so much, and at the end of this edition, there's even some writing or notes about Philippa Pierce's inspiration for the story, and there is even her father and her when she was a little girl, and as well as other pictures of the house and garden that inspired this story and where she found the inspiration of why she wanted to manipulate time in a certain way and why she wanted to tell the story at all. There she is. I really enjoyed that section of the book, kind of hearing the background of her inspiration for the story and how it relates to her own childhood. And I think that which is why I love doing research about authors, when you do that research, you can really get such a greater appreciation and understanding of their work, and it made me love this story even more. I was already quite heartbroken and devastated by the ending, and then I turned the page and I read that last section of her inspiration in her life, and my heart broke even a little bit more. It kind of got mended as well. It was just so wonderful, and I highly recommend reading this story. And then the last book I have not finished, but I did read. I finished the 24-hour readathon with reading, I think, 3 or 4 chapters of, there's no cover on it, it's right here, of The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. And I am loving this book so much. Why I prioritized this one, so for the past week, I've been reading this one mainly, just because it's for the month of June for the book club, and this one, I have no time constraint with reading it, so I've been taking my time with it, but every time I pick it up, I am loving it. Where I am in the story right now, they just got to Italy. The descriptions of the medieval castle that they're staying in, it's just so gorgeous and stunning and enchanting, and I feel like I'm being transported into the story with them. And this truly is such a beautiful and perfect book for this time of year, spring and summer. I'm just loving it so much. So I can't wait to keep reading it. I feel like it has taken me forever to read this book. I am now on chapter 7. So those are the books that I read and finished in the 24-hour readathon, and I'm still currently reading. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this vlog. I hope you enjoyed watching Emma and I do another 24-hour readathon, because we haven't done one in so long, and it was just such a joy, so much fun to read with your best friend. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to know if you've read any of these books, what you think of them, and any of your bookish thoughts. I love hearing from you in the comments. So I will see you soon in another video, and as always, happy reading.